Some wounds don't bleed, some scars don't show, and some pain doesn't even have words. It lives quietly inside people who smile too much, people who apologize even when they've done nothing wrong, people who feel guilty for existing. This video is not about hating parents. This is not about blame. This is about truth. Because many parents never hit their children, yet still broke them. Not with fists, but with phrases. Words spoken casually, repeated daily, normalized, dismissed as discipline, motivation, or love. But those words didn't disappear, they stayed. They became the child's inner voice. Tonight, we're talking about 8 toxic parenting phrases that quietly destroy a child's self-worth and follow them into adulthood like a shadow. If this video feels uncomfortable, it's because it's real. Number 1. Why can't you be like them? It sounds like frustration, like disappointment, like a simple comparison. But to a child, this sentence doesn't compare behavior, it compares worth. And in that moment, the child doesn't feel challenged, they feel replaced. This phrase tells the child something painful and precise. Who you are is not acceptable. Someone else is preferred. The child isn't asked to grow. They're asked to transform, not into a better version of themselves, but into someone else entirely. And that creates a wound that doesn't close. Imagine a child sitting at the dinner table. They tried their best on a test. They studied late. They were proud, just for a moment. Then the paper is picked up. The score is seen. And instead of encouragement, they hear, "Why can't you be like your cousin? He always gets top marks." In that moment, something breaks quietly. The child doesn't hear motivation. They hear comparison. They look at their hands and think, "What's wrong with me?" From that day on, every achievement feels temporary. Every success feels incomplete, because there is always someone better. They grow up believing love is competitive. That approval must be earned by outperforming others. That being themselves is never enough. Number 2, stop crying, or I'll give you a reason to cry. It sounds like control. It sounds like authority. It sounds like punishment wrapped in warning. But to a child, this sentence doesn't teach boundaries. It teaches fear. And in that moment, the child doesn't feel guided. They feel unsafe. This phrase tells the child something profound and damaging. Your feelings are unacceptable. Your pain invites danger. The child isn't being told how to behave. They're being told that being themselves is unsafe. Tears are no longer a release. They are a signal of danger. And the child learns quickly. Crying is risky. Expressing pain is forbidden. Imagine a child crying in their room, not because they're weak, but because their world feels too loud, too confusing, too overwhelming. Their chest hurts. Their throat is tight. They don't know how to explain it. Then the door opens, and instead of comfort, they hear anger. "Stop crying, or I'll give you a reason to cry." Fear replaces sadness. The tears stop, but not because the pain is gone, because the child learns something dangerous. Number 3, after everything I've done for you. That teaches a child that love comes with debt. After everything I've done for you. It sounds like care, like sacrifice, like love expressed through effort. But to a child, this sentence doesn't feel loving. It feels transactional. It feels like their worth is conditional. This phrase tells the child something they can't escape. Your existence comes with a debt. Love is owed. Affection is conditional. The child isn't being taught gratitude. They are being taught obligation. They learn that care is not given freely. It is demanded, and that lesson doesn't fade with age. It grows into anxiety, guilt, and self-doubt. Imagine a child wanting to make a small choice. Maybe they want to study something different. Maybe they want to say no. Maybe they want space. But before they finish speaking, they hear, "After everything I've done for you," the sentence hangs heavy. The child feels guilt before understanding why. They think, "I owe them. My needs are selfish. My happiness costs too much." Love becomes a transaction. As they grow older, they carry this guilt everywhere. As adults, they struggle to set boundaries, feel responsible for everyone's emotions, stay in unhealthy relationships, feel selfish for choosing themselves. They don't live freely, they live in debt. After hearing this repeatedly, the child begins to measure themselves in return. Did I earn this love today? Am I worthy of care? Have I done enough? Every action is judged. Every mistake feels like failure. Every desire feels like selfishness. The child learns early that being themselves is not enough. They must perform, comply, and repay. Number 4, you're too sensitive. It sounds harmless, almost casual. Something people say without thinking. But to a child, this sentence doesn't correct behavior. It rewrites reality. It tells the child, your feelings are wrong. Your pain is exaggerated. Your emotional response is a problem. And when a child hears that often enough, they stop asking, why does this hurt? And start asking, what's wrong with me? This is not strength building. This is self-erasure. Children experience emotions intensely because their brains are still developing. They don't yet have the language, regulation, or perspective adults have. When a child expresses hurt and is met with, you're too sensitive, their emotional system receives a clear message. Do not trust yourself. So the child learns to suppress instead of process. They learn to question their instincts. They learn to override their inner signals. Over time, emotional confusion replaces emotional clarity. This phrase becomes an internal dialogue. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I deserve this. Maybe I'm just weak. The child starts gaslighting themselves long before anyone else has to. They stop defending their feelings. They stop naming discomfort. They stop speaking when something feels wrong. Silence becomes safer than honesty. Number 5, I'm saying this for your own good. It sounds responsible, protective, even loving. But to a child, this sentence often arrives right before pain, before humiliation, before control, before words that cut too deeply to argue with. And because it's framed as care, the child learns something dangerous. If this hurts, it must be love. This phrase doesn't explain. It shuts down. It tells the child, your reaction doesn't matter. Your discomfort is irrelevant. My intention cancels your pain. It removes the child's right to question, resist, or protect themselves. Because if it's for your own good, then disagreement becomes disrespect. Over time, the child stops evaluating behavior based on how it feels. They evaluate it based on authority. Pain becomes something to endure. Confusion becomes something to ignore. Discomfort becomes something to suppress. The child learns, love is not safe. Care is not gentle. Protection does not feel protective. They don't ask, is this healthy? They ask, why can't I handle this better? This sentence trains obedience. It teaches the child that being hurt is acceptable if the intention sounds good. Being controlled is normal if the reason sounds logical. Being silenced is necessary if the speaker has power. The child learns to disconnect from their instincts, and instinct is the first thing abuse tries to erase. To number 6, you'll never be good at anything. The sentence that teaches a child to quit before they begin. You'll never be good at anything. It doesn't sound like anger. It sounds like a verdict, a final judgment passed on a mind that hasn't even finished forming. To a child, this sentence isn't criticism, it's a prophecy. And once spoken by someone they trust, it begins to feel true. This phrase doesn't describe ability. It defines identity. It tells the child, talent is not for you. Growth is pointless. Effort will not change the outcome. The child doesn't feel challenged. They feel dismissed. And dismissal hurts deeper than failure. Long after this sentence is spoken, it repeats quietly in the background. When the child tries something new, the voice appears. When they make a mistake, the voice gets louder. When they consider dreaming, the voice shuts it down. You'll fail. Why try? This isn't for you. Eventually, the parent doesn't have to say it anymore. The child says it to themselves. Children who hear this phrase learn a painful lesson. Trying is dangerous because effort invites humiliation. Hope invites disappointment. So they protect themselves by avoiding risk. They stop raising their hand. They stop volunteering. They stop experimenting. They stop believing, not because they lack ability, but because they were taught that effort equals shame. Number 7, be grateful. Others have it worse. The sentence that teaches a child to silence their pain. Be grateful. Others have it worse. It sounds reasonable, mature, even wise. It's often said calmly, sometimes with a sigh, sometimes with disappointment. But to a child, this sentence doesn't teach gratitude. It teaches shame. This phrase doesn't put pain into perspective. It invalidates it. It tells the child, your suffering doesn't qualify. Your emotions are inconvenient. Your pain must be measured before it's allowed. The child learns that pain is a competition, and theirs never seems to win. So they stop talking. A child who hears this begins to feel guilty for hurting. They feel sadness, then feel ashamed for feeling it. They feel anger, then feel selfish for feeling it. They feel overwhelmed, then feel weak for admitting it. Their emotional world becomes confusing and unsafe. They don't learn gratitude. They learn self-dismissal. Others have it worse becomes a mental stop sign. Every emotion approaches and is turned away. The child doesn't ask, why am I feeling this? They ask, do I deserve to feel this? Over time, they stop listening to their emotional signals. And when emotions aren't processed, they don't disappear. They settle into the body. Number 8, I'm your parent. I'm always right. The sentence that teaches a child to doubt their own voice. I'm your parent. I'm always right. It doesn't sound angry. It sounds final. There is no discussion in it. No curiosity. No space. Just authority. And to a child, authority doesn't feel like guidance. It feels like erasure. This sentence doesn't establish safety. It establishes power. It tells the child, your perspective is irrelevant. Your experience is secondary. Your voice does not matter here. The conversation ends before it begins. The child isn't being taught how to think. They're being taught not to speak. When a child hears this repeatedly, they learn something quietly and deeply. Truth belongs to those with power. Their thoughts feel dangerous. Their opinions feel disrespectful. Their questions feel like rebellion. So they stop asking, not because they understand, but because they've learned silence is safer. This sentence trains obedience, not wisdom. The child learns to doubt their memory, question their perception, override their intuition, accept confusion as normal. When something feels wrong, they don't investigate it. They assume they're mistaken. And over time, that creates deep self-distrust. The aftermath, what these kids become. They become adults who apologize too much, love too little, doubt themselves constantly, feel empty without knowing why. They are successful but unhappy, kind but exhausted, strong but broken inside. They don't remember every word their parents said, but their body remembers. Their nervous system remembers. Their inner child remembers. A message for the child watching this. If this video hurt, it's because it touched something real. You were not weak. You were not dramatic. You were not ungrateful. You were a child. And children deserve safety, not survival. Healing doesn't mean blaming your parents. It means reclaiming yourself. You can learn a new inner voice. You can unlearn shame. You can rebuild self-worth. Slowly, gently, honestly. If you're a parent watching this, your words matter more than you know. Children don't remember what you bought them. They remember how you made them feel. Break the cycle. And if you're an adult healing silently, you are not broken. You are conditioned, and conditioning can be undone.